Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for yet another exciting edition of This Week in Pop Culture. My name is Aras Andia. I'm your host for this week's show. With me, as always, the incredible Michael Beregi. Yes, hello, Michael.
What up?
We have the intolerant, the talented, and the biggest swearer of them all, Sammy Castillo.
Intolerant?
I don't know. I was just rolling with the punches.
He got tongue-tied there.
Or I'm intolerable.
You're a tyrant.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And this week we have an awesome special guest, our returning guest, Mr. Jason himself from J1 Comic Con, as he has what do you have in your mouth?
That's not the first time I've heard that.
This show's already off the rails.
It's already gone. I'm sorry, I threw it out the
My
way.
swearing's bad.
Right. So let's get back. Let's get into this week's topics of craziness of what's going on in pop culture. We're gonna jump right into sports, or technically, I will jump into sports. We're gonna talk about the NBA. The NBA is scheduled to start on July 30th, but currently, as of right now, 16 out of 302 players have already tested positive for the coronavirus. Adam Silver stated in a statement on Thursday, one thing is that we're learning about the virus. So much is unpredictable. While president of the Players Association, Chris Paul, says, we're not saying full sail ahead, no matter what happens. We all talk daily, and we're going to see how this continues to play, but we feel very comfortable right now with where we are. On Thursday, the NBA also shared with its players their health and safety protocols to secure its campus at the ESPN Worldwide Sports Complex, currently at Disney World. Mandatory workouts start on July 1st. Teams will arrive on the campus of Disney World on July 7th. Team practices will start on July 9th to the 29th, and the NBA hopefully wants to restart of the season on July 30th with 22 teams participating in Orlando, Florida. But let's hope that, as we talk about the coronavirus, everyone is literally going to be watching the NBA to see what they can learn for what's going on. Speaking of Disneyland and Disney World, Margot Robbie is to star in a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Granted, we already got the reboot happening, but Margot Robbie is supposed to be is willing to take place during the same timeline as Johnny Depp's Pirates. A new female-driven story will not be the reboot, but this new movie will take inspiration from its iconic Disneyland and Disney World attractions. The House of Mouse is still working on a Pirates reboot, with Jerry Bruckheimer still attached as producer to both projects. There's no word yet on the direction of these films. It'll be interesting to see where these films meet sometime down the line. Sammy, since you're an avid Disney lander,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Let's start with you of this Pirates of the Caribbean movie and its current version that they're trying to go with.
Probably with the Margot Robbie one, they're going to use the redhead that's in the ride. If you're familiar with the ride, she's the bride that's on auction.
Okay.
She's the redhead, and all the pirates are like, we want the redhead, we want the redhead. So she's a huge, iconic part of the ride. Disney originally was going to take her out, like around the Me Too movement, but there was a petition to keep her in. That's how popular she is, and they left her in.
That's great.
It was a bride auction. So they had like a bunch of the brides. And she was the hot, sexy redhead. So I can easily see them using that as the main character, since she's such a cult iconic character with all of the fans of the ride and stuff like that. I think they definitely should have rebooted the Pirates like 3 or 4 Pirates ago.
Right.
Pirates ago. The last one with the kids, I think was supposed to be like the reboot,
Mhm.
but like it took our favorite character and made him a has-been loser. And you know, like he was always that reluctant anti-hero that, you know, screwed up for the better all the time, and we loved watching it because there was a method to his crazy madness. But it just seemed like it was pathetic. Let me put it that way. It was
Right. So the last movie
Yeah.
we didn't sort of.
Yeah.
and then the kids were flat. They were like two pieces of wood with faces standing next to Johnny Depp, you know. So, you know, I'm really disappointed because of the whole deal with Amber Heard and everything. Disney canceled the 6th film, which was supposed to bring it back in Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley. But
Right, because eventually he's supposed to go back on dry land to get his one night, you know.
And, yes, and they had a son. So it was actually supposed to bring in the son of Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom, and then, you know, Davy Jones's son was going to take over. But thanks to the whole, you know, scandal during the Me Too era, Disney fired and canceled Depp's contract, believing, you know, the first person that came out of the gate. And now, instead of eating crow, they've decided to relaunch the series without Johnny Depp's character, because he owns 50% of that character, so they can't use it without his permission. That's how he can that's how he does all the stuff that he does in character, because he owns it. He can pick it up and use it whenever he wants, as long as it's not for profit. But the only way they can get around their faux pas was to reboot the whole series after they fired their main character. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to go with these two different iterations. So, I mean, I think one of them is going to have to fall to the wayside. I think, like, they're both in development, and I think one is definitely going to fall.
One's going to be stronger than the other one, pretty much.
Yes, one's going to fall away, and the other one is going to continue to move forward. So I could see them easily doing tales in the same realm, and you hear things about, you know, Jack Sparrow and everything, and it's about other pirates.
Right.
That one would probably be better accepted than a whole complete reboot.
Jason, what are your thoughts on this crazy 2-version movies?
Whenever they do this, studios, when they try to, like, it's like, let's cover our butts with every possible opportunity and, like, put out, like, 2 of the same movies at the same time or within the same year, that never goes off well. Like, it never does. Like, when have we seen that succeed? Like, come on.
Technically, we're going to watch something happen in the near future with Sony and Marvel.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
So, all right, Michael, what are your thoughts with that? With the two Pirates movies?
I mean, I'm okay with them. I like the pirate movies. Truthfully, I always did enjoy them. I do agree with Sammy. The last one was garbage.
Right.
The acting from the kids with what was it with the mermaid, right? They had to get the mermaid tear and stuff like that. It was just not.
After that.
Wait, there was one after that?
5. Yeah.
What was the 5th one then? Which would refresh my memory?
The ghost ship, the pirates made out of water with the 2 young kids, and the ocean parts, and they're fighting with on the bottom of the ocean. Dead Man.
You never saw that one? Yeah, that was not good.
I don't remember seeing that one.
Yeah, he was with that well-known Spanish actor, and he had like all the black coming out of his mouth.
And it was Benicio del Toro.
Was it Del Toro?
Yeah, and it's Dead Man.
And he was the pirate captain that Johnny Depp, you know.
Oh, that's right. He cheated him
years ago. Yeah.
Okay, now all right. I remember that one. Yeah, that one wasn't that good.
I
like Johnny Depp.
You forgot about it.
Yeah, obviously, it was definitely forgettable. I mean, I went to Disney and I saw the ride before all of the crap happened back in the mid 90s, I want to say. So I saw it when it was the original, ride before they started taking stuff out because of everything where, I get why they had to take stuff out. I'm glad that the red character stayed in. I'm kind of surprised they didn't try to do something with Keira Knightley, like her character, because she led that last movie and she's been a strong female character throughout all of them that she's been in. So why not have her do that, where her and her son go on something to prove that we can get our dad back and her husband back and see it. So now they're going to go with Margot Robbie, which I have no problems. She's eye candy. I have no problem seeing her as a hot-looking redhead. I'm good with this. It's kind of great. But I think there is rumors, though, that they're trying to bring Johnny Depp back for the 6th one. There has been rumors going around that he might come back because of everything that happened with that. And Disney has petitioned that they know they can't do one without him.
Right.
And I think if they make one and they do that storyline and he's not involved in it, it's going to be a box office flop. People will go see it, and I think that people will support him because of everything that happened to him and see the movie. I will. I love his character.
Honestly, the only reason why people go out to see these movies, let's really talk about it. Johnny Depp is the reason why you're that and the special effects. There's no other character that I really care about.
That's the reason why you watch Pirates of the Caribbean. Everyone enjoys his Captain Jack Sparrow, and even when he has done the Make-A-Wish or gone to Children's Hospital, and they ask for Captain Jack, Johnny Depp comes in as Captain Jack, and he stays in that character the whole entire time. And everyone missed the ball during the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, where he stood there for the fans.
But I didn't realize he wasn't an animatronic.
Right.
I love his character, and I love our Barboza, Jeffrey Rush. Yeah. I love Barboza. Right, That character is great.
Okay.
3 were great. They had awesome stories. They tapped into pirate lore, as much as Disney-fied pirate lore can be. They used aspects of famous pirates that we knew, and it was a strong trilogy. I'm a pirate nut. So
right, the fact that he took in his inner Mick Jagger and brought it out until we got to see Mick Jagger at the 4th movie. Yeah.
Man, Mick Jagger aged a little too, man.
And then also we got and we all forget that Keira Knightley is pretty much the Pirate King at the end of that. And at the end of
she becomes the Pirate King at the end of the film. So she's on an island. We don't know where.
Pretty much it is like Disney dropped the ball on having that crazy love story with one having the ship of the dead that's still out to sea while the other one's still on land as the Pirate King.
Well, and that's the thing with the last two films, they completely forget about Davy Jones and Orlando Bloom.
Right.
I mean, the last film, they've parted the ocean like effing Moses, and they're fighting for all pirates.
Right.
And so where's Davy Jones? I mean, the thing set up with Davy Jones was that he was so in tune with the ocean that he knew where everything was happening in the water. So, they're parting the ocean. That's a couple miles long. They're fine.
Davy Jones doesn't show up to stop it, of course.
For the last 2 films, they really dropped the ball. On the storytelling, and it wasn't the fact that they couldn't get the 2 actors back, which is the worst part, because you're watching this flick with these wannabe, stand-in youngins talking about her ankles, and you watch this whole film, and the whole time you wish you'd see Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom, and then you sit through the 12 hours of credits, and then all of a sudden you see the door open, and Orlando Bloom gets up next to Keira Knightley, and you rip your hair out because they got them for the last effing scene.
I forgot about that. I was like, why are they there? It was kind of like, what was the point?
Well, it was to lead into that next film where they come back. Where they come back, and then of course the Amber Heard libel stuff happened, and Disney,
they jumped the gun, and
that's right, because there can't be a battered man. Women can't be assholes. Pardon my language. I'm so close.
Anyway, speaking of a-holes, pretty much, if we want to go on that little bandwagon, Elizabeth Banks is cast as the new Miss Frizzle in the new Magic School Bus movie. The Magic School Bus is coming to the big screen. Not only does the film have a producer, they will also have a Miss Frizzle. Yes, Elizabeth Banks will produce and star as Miss Frizzle. After seeing the fail of Charlie's Angels, is this the right move for her and the movie? I mean, we did watch Elizabeth Banks kind of, I guess, trash talk about why the movie first failed of Charlie's Angels, and now she's getting involved in another pet project. As Jason sits there and shakes his head, I did watch Charlie's Angels. It was not that great compared to the other two previous movies. But Jason, comment away, man.
Yeah, all right, listen, I like it. I love Elizabeth Banks. I think she's awesome. That Charlie's Angels movie, dog balls. Like, I unnecessary. And then her reasoning for it, you can't say, oh, men aren't supporting the movie when you advertise it like this isn't for you, men. Then like if I hear there's a rally and it's like, hey, this ain't for black folk, you think I'm gonna show up?
No,
I'm not gonna take my black behind over there. That don't sound like it's for me. I'm not going over there. Then you can't get mad at me and be like, why didn't you show up? You told me not to be there.
correct.
Like, look, I'm trying to give you your road, so don't come for me. Like, but again, I don't think, where are they going to go? It depends on what the first trailer looks like.
Right.
Because if they do like a kind of Tim Burton-esque kind of thing with it, I could see this working. I would love it if it had that kind of dark humor kind of vibe. Like, let it be cheesy. Don't try and make Shakespeare. Like, be insane with it. Like, have fun with the film.
Yeah.
Like, if they do that, if one of the kids like dies or something like that, I would let that slide, because they killed every one of those kids at some point.
I mean, they did. Remember when they had the episode where they go into the human body and the white blood cells attack the bus.
Right.
Yep.
So we remember that episode very well, where they get into one of the kids was sick, and Miss Frizzle says, "Why don't we go inside his body to see what it looks like?" And we got to see that version of the white blood cells attacking the bus. As kids, we didn't bat an eye. We saw it happening.
Yeah. I look, it's your fault. You shouldn't have been on that bus. Like, I wouldn't go. But yeah, I don't think, I want to see what the first trailer looks like before I make a full judgment, because she has that kind of energy. I've seen her in enough stuff where she can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is the drugs. I mean, she puts drugs in all the kids' food, like, and then she does something for herself. Then she gets
like a ride.
Half the time they're actually driving around in a junkyard, and they think they're in like some human body and all that stuff.
Jason, are you saying that Elizabeth Banks should go towards the Power Rangers role, where she was playing Rita in that sort of like weird, fun way at the same time?
Yeah,
Michael was actually
for that. I liked her as Rita. I liked that Rita. I didn't like the Zords. Like the rest of the movie was,
of course, no one liked the Zords.
No one likes the Zords.
Ugh.
I like if she played it more kind of like her character from Hunger Games, where she's got that whacked out hair, like the colorful outfit, stuff like that. I could kind of get behind it a little bit, because I remember seeing that cartoon as a kid, and I absolutely loved watching that as a kid. That was trippy as hell, man. She destroyed those kids, but just to see that, and I'd like to see how crazy they go. Like when you said they go in there and fight the white blood cells, all I could think of was Inner Space with Randy Quaid, Dennis Quaid, I think, and like that. Like I love that. Do something like that, and then go to outer space, gonna go underseas. But you got to make it something over the top. If you're trying, like Jason said, you're trying to go Shakespeare, it's gonna be bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if she wants to talk about a movie being bad because the men didn't go watch it, we didn't watch it because Kristen Stewart starred in it. She's a horrible actress. The woman aboard sitting there with makeup on could do a better acting job than her. She's horrendous. And then if you want to think about other bad movies, female characters had horrible stories, Ghostbusters. Like they don't even count that in the movie section anymore, like as part of the Ghostbusters. So it's not that we don't want to go see it. Give us something good that's actually a good story, good acting. We'll watch it. I don't care who the hell's starring in it, but make it good. We'll go see it. Don't blame the fact that men didn't go see it because, you know, we didn't go see it. No, we didn't go see it because Kristen Stewart sucks as an actress, and the trailers looked horrible because Drew Barrymore's version brought people in the crowd.
Correct.
You know, they went to see it, so don't give me that. You know, but I was gonna say, but I think that as long as they go over the top with some of the stories and they do that, the other person I know is Kate McKinnon. She did the voice of Miss Frizzle on the Netflix version of the cartoon series.
Right.
She's another one I wouldn't mind seeing it if she played Miss Frizzle instead of Elizabeth Banks.
Yes.
Let Banks, let Banks do her directing, and she's that, and focus on that and make a good story, and then let Kate McKinnon do her crazy skits that she does for Saturday Night live action, and then people that watch the Netflix series, all the fans of that, they might go see it because they recognize the character, they know who she is. They're going to go watch it. You're going to go to see something that you're familiar with.
So you're saying go with the Star Wars role where you're casting the actors that would do the voices, at least put them together.
In a way, yeah, I would say yes, because I think it would be really cool. Like people would go see it because they know who the characters are. That's just me. I would like to see it. Just don't, like Jay said, don't make it Shakespeare. Make it Dig Burton style. Like I'd love to see something Tim Burton style. Give me that, and dude, you got my money first weekend.
Anyway, just ruining it. You're just ruining it a bit more, but give us a little fun with it.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
need to do a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids treatment to it.
Right.
Like if they use that formula for it, then it's going to be perfect. They're not, with the crazy science. If they made her a crazy science teacher or whatever, and that's the kind of treatment they need to give it because it's a family film. It's good for all ages. If there's some darker stuff in there, that's in that wheelhouse because there's some dark stuff in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids films as well. Mm-hmm. So, that's the kind of, I think that's the kind of, what I'm looking for, approach they need to take with that film. If they make it for everyone, then everyone will go see it. But when they decide to make all of these man films, women films, and then put male bashing in the film, men aren't going to want to go see it, So they need to step away from, the feminist pedestal, sometimes.
It's been done before. I remember when Lauryn Hill said that her music was not for certain genres of people, and her album sales tanked. And we've seen it from time and time again, from the 90s up until now, that there's no time to sit there and bash and say, this movie isn't for you, don't watch it. No, all films are for all people, just like all music is for all people. Let them decide what they want to watch and listen to.
Yeah.
As far as Elizabeth Banks producing and starring in it, I hope she can learn from the Charlie's Angels experience of what not to do and what not to say, because I think Charlie's Angels, even with Kristen Stewart in it, probably could have been a lot better if she didn't open her mouth and bash the viewers and the audience that are going to go watch and see it. Michael?
But think also, Elizabeth Banks also made Pitch Perfect.
Correct.
Which was a primarily female-led cast for the first two and the third one. I love the movies, the way they did the ensembles, the music, the way they had the characters. You had characters that people wanted to love, and they made it fun. Like you had
and everything.
What's up, Jay?
Yeah.
I got the soundtracks and everything.
Hey man, dude, I love the soundtrack.
Grown black man with locks driving in my car. I'm up there like, yes, girl. Okay.
But you had characters like Rebel Wilson, who I loved her character on that. Like she made fun of herself, but she had a good time with it. So she directed some good movies in the past. Don't blame the fact that men didn't go see a movie because, hell, I've spent plenty of dollars on movies in the movie theater that were horrible. Power Rangers, Fantastic Four. Trust me, I've seen some bad movies in my day. So I'll go watch a movie if I want to get out of my house and leave reality behind for 2 hours. Just give me something good. So I don't blaming the audience. So what was Star Wars? Star Wars 2 did horrible. people came back in the third one because they wanted to see it because it was, a movie. Like, don't blame the crowd. Blame the fact that you were a horrible director for that movie and you had the wrong cast. That's it.
Sammy, you had a couple more lines.
Oh, well, I agree. Sometimes it just doesn't work. And as a creator, you're not going to, everything can't be a masterpiece. And sometimes something that you think is going to be awesome sucks. I have tons of those pieces that I think are going to be amazing sellers. Like, I nailed it and nothing. And you just gotta roll with the punches. I mean, I don't blame my fans because they aren't buying this particular piece I did because I think it's awesome and they're stupid for not buying it.
Right.
Well, that sort of logic hurts you more than the next. Hurts you the next time around because you say that like it's your fault, it's men's fault. Well, how many of those guys are going to go, she's a see you next Tuesday. We're not going to go support her next film. Her next film could be amazing.
Right.
Yep.
You said these nasty things about the people that give you the privilege to make this happen.
Right.
And you went like this to them, and they are no longer going to be your fan. So, I mean, that's the way it rolls. But, like, blaming, again, not everything's a masterpiece. So, suck it up. Learn from what you did on that one. See why people didn't like it, and then move on and do it better for the next time.
Well, Jason looks like he's got a couple more comments, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, real quick. I was just going to say I can give you a million examples on female led movies that have done well. Wonder Woman. I love Wonder Woman. I can watch. I can watch the 2 animated movies and the live action all day, every day. I'm waiting for 84 to drop so I can take my butt, like, wherever I gotta go to see this. Like, and I am outside of the Harry Potter mustache as a god. Like, I thought that movie was perfect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Perfect example of like more of that rhetoric that people shouldn't do this is bad marketing was Captain Marvel, and like constantly saying this isn't for you, this isn't for the white man, this isn't for no, like, get the white man in there to watch it so he could learn some stuff about women. That's how you really do it. You're like, hey, men, you should really watch this because it might open your eyes up to this possibility or this thing. That's why I like how they marketed Black Panther. They were like, come see Black Panther.
That's it. It's a Marvel movie.
Yep.
That's all this. Anything else. The only thing they said was this was the first time that it had an all-black crew, and that was it. And Marvel produced it and says, by the way, you're going to go watch a Marvel film. Nothing else. You're watching a Marvel film.
The key thing, though, was the script writing. They made it accessible to everyone.
Correct.
Okay? The problem with some of these female films, like Ocean's Whatever, and the one with... sometimes with these remade female films, it's not accessible because it's so intent on its feminist message, good or bad. It's so intent on it that if you don't have that view or even like understand that aspect of the culture or life, you're not going to like it, And so that was one of the things that I loved about Black Panther was that it was accessible to anyone. You didn't have to be a certain economic status, man, woman, child, black, white, Asian. You literally just sat in the film and watched this awesome story and you loved every second of it. Well, maybe if you're, more whatever, maybe you learned something from it. So that's, that's the problem is that the script has to be accessible to all, to everybody. And that's what Black Panther did perfectly.
Well, speaking of weird scripts that I didn't even know is actually in existence, apparently there was a Wolverine versus Hulk movie that is reportedly that is supposedly coming out. And while they're filming this movie, they're going to feature some new Marvel Universe characters. A couple of months back, Wolverine and the Hulk was early in developments for a film. This sounds like a Disney Plus kind of move to introduce a new Wolverine, pretty much. While we patiently wait for that, we will also be introduced to Marvel's Alpha Flight. Marvel is considering to use the team in a future Disney Plus show, but and the last we saw Hulk was at peace with his new form. Will this new introduction of Wolverine also start something new? I mean, I'm kind of shocked that we're already getting a new Wolverine, and bad enough we're going to get Wolverine versus Hulk. To see Scientist Hulk, we're already going to lose Scientist Hulk and go right to Mad version Hulk, and the fact that we're going to get reintroduced to Wolverine and get the Alpha Flight somehow in there, to me, it's a really cool concept. But I'm not ready for Hugh Jackman to not be Wolverine right now. I'm hoping Hugh Jackman's in it, but who knows what's going on. Sammy, let's start with you.
He's not in it. He's done.
He's done.
He's done like yesterday's dinner. And he's already said that publicly many times.
Right.
So the article actually said that it's going to take place during Wolverine in Canada after he escaped Weapon X, and then and that's how he meets. That's the only way they can bring in Alpha Team properly.
Right.
So I actually I think that's awesome because that's a Wolverine we've gotten this much to see, and everybody loves that Wolverine. Right. Angry, feral Wolverine running around, cutting some stuff up, kicking ass, taking names, being his lonely, broody, a-hole self. And then, of course, he gets to meet, the Alpha Team, the Canadian Avengers. Whatever. And, so I think that's awesome because it's I think it's an interesting part of the Marvel universe that we don't often acknowledge or get to see. People forget that Alpha Flight is a thing, and and they had some awesome characters, so I really look to see him kind of be a part of it, and who doesn't want to see the Hulk and Wolverine fight? I mean, that's how he was introduced. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want to see that fight?
True. Jason?
I just figured out how they're going to do that. It's not going to be Rage Hulk. What's going to happen is that Professor Hulk is going to hear about this Weapon X project. The rage thing that he's going to be dealing with is this mindless killing machine that's Wolverine. So it's going to be Professor Hulk trying to capture, because all through Marvel history, or the MCU history, everybody's been trying to contain and calm down the Hulk. Now the Hulk is calmed down. Now he's going to know what it's like to be on the other end of a rage monster. So he's going to be the one trying to figure out how to stop this raged out Weapon X. And then he's going to, instead of going like, damn, man, I wish I had the Avengers with me, he's going to call out and get the connections through the help of Alpha Flight. That's how they're going to be able to explain this new team. They're like, oh, you guys are kind of like the Avengers. I'm like, yeah, but we're Canadian.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I was laughing about.
And then the thing is, this is a way for them to do Avengers version of Guardians of the Galaxy, where they can introduce like Puck and all that other stuff. This is actually how the original introduction for Wolverine was, because Wolverine was in Canada fight, but he was fighting Wendigo, but it was also Hulk there as well. So like they might have that as a thing that they could all turn, because whenever it's hero versus hero, there's always a villain at the end that they get to team up the face against.
Correct.
Like fast friends.
Right. So then that's where they introduce
battle buddies.
Right. They'll probably all team up together to fight Wendigo. Yeah. And then at the end, Hulk will be like, yo, we got a crew over in America that could probably help you with your situation. Come join us. Boom. Right. Now he's over with the Avengers.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty. I think bringing the X-Men in, like from the beginning. I think that's into the MCU from kind of the start is the best way to introduce that, because that they had multiple different beginning points with the original team and the original guys, but like having Wolverine, obviously the most popular X-Men, get brought in first and then starting to feed in the other X-Men, I think is how they're going to start slowly bringing in, you know, the X-Men finally into the MCU.
Well, we're going to hold off on that one because Wolverine's not going to be the first mutant to be introduced to the MCU, but we'll let Michael continue with his comments.
Well, I was seriously thinking about how they were going to introduce, you know, how you're going to do the Hulk, where he's badly damaged, he's got the hurt arm now, and now he's supposed to fight, you know, Wolverine, and goes to Canada to do it. So, like, what's the storyline? How are they going to do that? And I was thinking about that. Now, Jason actually, seriously, I think he nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
If they don't do that storyline, I think it's kind of like, why bother? Because how are you going to get him where he's docile, you know, Bruce Banner with a bum arm, and he's up in Canada fighting something that's a feral monster? It's not him. He's fighting somebody else. I think that would be something kind of cool, you know, where they do that. And then bringing in, I started laughing when he said that. He's like, yeah, we got this like Avenger crew up here that's the Alpha Flight. You know, that was like, it was like the Canadian version of the Avengers. Like, hey, we got some superheroes.
Hey,
come meet them.
Too. We like to fight.
Oh, right. We like to fight too, eh? Oh, sorry about that.
We got a couple of guys. We didn't want to help you out during the world war, you know, war that you were fighting against Thanos. Like, we had Canada's problems to deal with. You know, we had to deal with our currency called the loonie. You know, you guys deal with Thanos. You know, so I mean,
they weren't there. They were in the back portal. You just couldn't see them. They're in the back portal in Endgame.
Yeah. So way at the other end.
Or they were snapped away from existence.
That's true. I mean, I think it's going to be cool to introduce to find out how, or maybe they could also do like the Hulk's hearing about something being done up there where regeneration or something like that, and he finds out something that there's something that can help him regrow his arm.
At one point, they mentioned Stryker. During the movie Ultron, they mentioned Stryker. So they can easily go there and be like, okay, since we're constantly hearing about Stryker doing all these scientific experiments, Smart Hulk is going up there and trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, the only downfall I feel is like bringing him versus Wolverine. I feel like it's a little too late, you know, for it, you know, in a way. But I get that's how they're going to introduce Wolverine. I still want Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman did always say he would never don the Wolverine costume unless it was part of the MCU universe. And I pray he's listening somewhere and he's like, I'll wear it one time. Even if it's like a Deadpool cameo or something in the Deadpool, because Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds has been begging him to do it. Give me that just once, just it. I just want Jackman for one. I don't even care if it's like something in the background. Maybe it's him in a photo wearing the outfit, and you know Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. And he's flipping through a magazine. He's like, I knew he would do it, and he just kept going. I would be happy with that. Just give me that. Give me a new Wolverine, but I want to see that. That would be the best thing to me ever.
Right. So we'll see what they go after that. Pretty much as to answer David as far as Sabretooth. Who knows what they're going to do with the Sabretooth storyline? Who knows if they're going to even mention the Wolverine origins that Hugh Jackman actually went through? And yes, we did go through Hulk versus the whole movie and everything, but those were two short stories, and Deadpool was involved in the Hulk versus Wolverine on one side. So was Maverick, and so was Sabretooth. Will we get introduced to Team Weapon X? We won't know. Will we see Wolverine in the Weapon X outfit? We won't know until maybe a couple of years from now. So we won't know exactly what's being done. Michael,
I don't think MCU is going to retouch upon any of the stories that Fox did with any of that stuff.
Correct.
I think they're going to leave that. They felt like, well, a couple of cool things here. You kind of butchered some of our lore and some of our topics. They could probably fix it, but I don't think they want to. I think they're going to move on. That's not
Bryan Singer's out. Forget what Bryan Singer has done and screw up the whole franchise for us.
Well,
exactly. I think they're done with it. They're moving on. They're not going back to that.
You know, they've got the licensing for all the characters, you know, because they're the MCU. So they don't have to take these certain characters and make them, cram them in and make them fit into a mold, aka, you know, First Class. Like, you know, like they completely destroyed Mystique's entire character. She makes no sense. They put her in the Jean Grey role. And it's like, all right, well, why didn't you just bring back Jean Grey then? So, yeah, I think they're basically just going to wipe the board and then start fresh. You know, and whatever happened over there, and this is what's happening here in our universe.
Jason?
And the way they introduce, because, like, to bring in the Alpha Flight crew to help, like, fight this whole scenario, it could be Hulk and Alpha Flight versus Wolverine and the Weapon X crew project.
Correct.
So you get maybe even Omega Red will be there, Maverick will be there. Like, so it's enough of a bad boy squad that it would make a good clash.
Yeah.
I'd be down with it.
It would introduce some of the Weapon X, you know, mutants.
Right. We do see at one point Team Weapon X at one point in a small storyline, and we got in the animated series for a short flashback. And then we did get to see Team Weapon X in a weird version in Hulk versus Wolverine in the cartoon version.
Right. And it's a good way to bring in Deadpool without actually having him have his own movie just yet that's under Disney license.
Correct.
Yep.
So
and him control is not R-rated.
We'll see. Well, speaking of something weird, this will go right into Jason's aspect. Warner Brothers is apparently spying, Spider-Man star to play the DCEU's version of Tim Drake. Warner Brothers has made it known that they would like Tom Holland to fill in exactly to fill in that role of the Robin role, with Green Lantern, Justice League Dark, and Batman on HBO, soon to be happening on HBO. Holland would be a fine addition to Ben Affleck's Batman, but I don't see Warner Brothers pulling the plug on Holland just yet, with Marvel and Sony having multiple projects with him. Since Jason is the huge Spider-Man fan. Are you walking away with this? Huge Spider-Man fan.
He's got to change his hat.
All right,
he's going to put his hat. He's changing his hat.
He normally wears the sweatshirt, so we'll go with Jason first, since he's an avid Spider-Man fan.
I had to make sure I'm wearing all my MCU stuff. So this is my Iron Spider, and I got Edith on. So there you go. Right. Listen, they'd be stupid if they're not going to let that boy go.
No.
They're not going to let that boy go, because here's what when you do that with other projects. Because I've done some dabbling with some other companies and such. So you don't want to injure yourself or have something happen to that star player on a set of your rival, company. So then now you're screwed for your trilogy, because now your main actor is, hopping along, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, they better. Where's the mouse?
You don't want.
Play. The mouse does not play.
Sony and the mouse don't play. Meanwhile, he's got two. Remember, you got Sony and and Marvel all up their butts with Tom Holland, and they're not letting him go.
No,
Sammy.
Marvel will not. The mouse will. Yeah, the mouse doesn't play. They're not going to let him do it. They could be looking at him, but that doesn't mean anything. And Disney has a very staunch sort of contract with their actors, that they can't do certain types of roles while they're filming and on contract with Disney. Right. So, and one of that is a superhero role for another film, for another company.
That's
completely against their contracts. So honestly, what I think it really was that they threw a name out there that's attached to the MCU to attract attention to their new project with Tim Drake. So it's free press because it's rumor. It's a rumor mill. So it's like, oh yeah, we're asking Tom Holland. Oh, cool. But you're gonna have a Tim Drake character? That's awesome. So I think really what it was an attention grab. I highly doubt that they're going to, Disney will allow that to happen to one of their main, popular character, actors. I mean, I'd be more surprised if that happened than if I woke up with my head sewn to the carpet tomorrow morning.
Michael?
There's no way in heck that Sony and Marvel and Disney is letting Holland do another film, especially that's not Spider-Man related. Hey, if he does it for another 2-3 films and he decides, I'm done, I've done my contract, that's it, I'm moving on. Yeah, but he's not taking DCU right now. There's no way. And I know they're letting him do the young Nathan Drake in Uncharted, which I was kind of a little surprised about because I think that's being done by WB. So maybe that's why somebody threw his name out there.
Correct.
There's no way they're letting him go to that. And I wouldn't want him to go to that because you're going to watch him on screen as Robin, and all you're going to see is that Spider-Man. That's it. That's all people are going to see. They're just going to see Spider-Man. They're not going to see, Robin. They're not going to see Tim Drake. They're going to want to see Spider-Man, and then he's going to get, panned because of it. Oh, his acting wasn't good. He didn't have the quips. He didn't do whatever he should have. It should have been more that way. They need to go in a whole different direction. Don't try to steal somebody from the MCU to do something so you get a name in your movie to get people to sit in the theater. How about give me a good movie? Give me good writing. Give me a good storyline. Even pick a no-name actor that's maybe up and coming for a young actor to play that role of him. And for play Tim Drake. I'd like that. But there's no way the mouse is letting him go. No.
Right.
Holland also doesn't have the right vibe. He's like the happy-go-lucky kid, like visually speaking. You look at him and you expect him to break out into song, not to leap down and beat the crap out of somebody with a telescopic bow stick. He's the wrong... Visually, he's wrong for the part. He looks happy. Even when he's not happy, he looks happy.
Even when he's depressed, he's happy.
He's a likable guy,
He's perfect as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's perfect as that Spider-Man. Even with the mask on, you could see him underneath there. Like, he's that kid that's just bopping along. Like, he's got his own tune going, and he's just that way. And you want him to play Tim Drake that's supposed to be, all dark and broody like, Batman? No way. No.
Emo and depressed. I don't want my Tom Holland's emo and depressed. I mean, we gotta wait to see when he puts on the black suit what'll happen. But
I don't want Tobey Maguire.
I'm not saying with the emo hair.
Yeah, exactly. No.
I'm not saying that he doesn't have the acting range to do it. I believe the kid has the skill for it, but visually, it's not. Like, he's not a gritty looking kid. Like,
he can't even grow facial hair. What the hell is gonna give? The kid can't even grow facial hair. You want him to be a gritty sidekick? No.
Yeah.
I can't see him, Tim Drake, downgrade his own character to go play a lead role, to play a sidekick. Granted, it'll probably be next to Ben Affleck. It'll probably be great for his career. But I don't see him being a sidekick anytime soon, especially being a superhero role. I see him still playing a lead. Speaking of Batman, pretty much, as we talk about Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton and Jeffrey Dean Morgan are rumored to come back and play Batman in Ezra Miller's Flashpoint movie. This story will take place between Batman vs. Superman and continue into Justice League. The Flashpoint movie will tie in the DC Cinematic Universe. Michael Keaton is currently reprising his role in a Marvel film called Morbius. Flash is scheduled to be released on July 2nd of 2022. This is, for me, one of the most exciting things I've heard in a while. Some of us who did see Batman vs. Superman got to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Granted, you know, as he walked down the street as Thomas Wayne, and we got to see Maggie from Walking Dead, that gave us mini goosebumps to seeing something probably happen. As Jason shakes his head, you're going to be the first to comment anyway. I look forward to Jeffrey Dean Morgan doing Thomas Wayne Batman, but I also am more looking forward to getting Michael Keaton back in the Batman cowl just to give us one more Batman essence. And will this lead into Batman Beyond? So, Jason, what do you think?
I'm kind of excited for it. One of the things is I like him. I've always liked him as Batman. I always like Keaton as Batman. He is my favorite nostalgic Batman.
Okay.
But not my favorite portrayal of Batman. A lot of people are like, "What? Sinful?" No,
it's George Clooney, isn't it?
Listen, like I think it's kind of cool. No.
Well, rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. We'll never get those ever again. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He's putting nipples on up in heaven.
There you go, Bat Nipples from Heaven. That's my new album I'm putting out.
Bat Nipples in Heaven.
Yeah, Bat Nipples from
Bat Nipples in Heaven.
It's like it's a rock ballad. It's a hard '80s rock ballad album.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
In the warehouse with your billowy, your white billowy, peasant top that's open down here like you're a lord from the 1600s with your leather pants laced up to the side and it's all monochromatic purple. Oh yeah,
but it'll definitely be a deep V.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that you'll see my bat nipples. Like you gotta see my bat nipples.
You gotta see the bat nipples.
Oh, the chains. Oh yeah. I got it.
Stairway to Heaven version, long,
Guitar coming out of nowhere, and it's like the Michael Bay of music videos because it just you as you're singing to nothing and spinning.
Sitting on a mountain cliff somewhere in like Scotland,
You're standing. It cuts from this random warehouse to the cliffs of Ireland, and you're like standing against the wind, and your dreads are in the wind. Oh yeah.
I so want this to happen now. I don't know.
Joke tangent is taking too long.
Yeah, somebody should fund that. I'll send you my Cash App people.
Yeah.
Scratch my cash, scratch yours. Anyway, Jason.
I think it's really cool. I hope it does lead to him doing being Batman for Batman Beyond. I think he would be a cool one. It's either him or Kevin Conroy. Mm-hmm. Because Kevin Conroy was in Crisis, and I thought he was really cool as the future Batman, and and he was a damaged Batman. So I'm like, that's Batman Beyond to me right now. Right. That's my live action. What I'm looking at. I think this will all be cool. I already know where they're going to tie in because they tried to put little nods to Flashpoint in Batman v Superman. When Batman was sitting there contemplating what to do next, or if he had to go to the bathroom, I'm not sure what he was thinking, but the Flash actually shows up in this portal wearing this crazy armor and helmet and all that stuff. And he's like, she's the key. And then just gets warped in out of nowhere. And he was like, now what was that? Right. And then you get that dream sequence that kind of led to the Dark Side stuff and all that, all that cool stuff. But that's literally a Flashpoint sequence right there. So they were planning to do this at some point.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's why they even have Jeffrey Dean Morgan being Thomas Wayne, because they were like, we already know. That's why he's in the beginning as,
That's what we're gonna give. That's what we're gonna introduce him real quick as a Thomas Wayne. Granted, we're gonna kill him off in the first 10 seconds of the movie. Here's Thomas Wayne.
Right. And then we're gonna get maybe what I want to see. I can't wait to see his Joker mom. I want to see that. I want to see Martha all jokered out and crazy.
Right.
Because people who don't know, for those who don't know, that's what happens. Bruce dies. He gets shot in Crime Alley. Mm-hmm. Thomas becomes Batman with guns. And Martha goes insane, and she becomes the Joker. but hers isn't like chemical because she was like holding his blood and she had it like wiped on her mouth or something like that. She smeared it on her face and she started laughing crazy and all that stuff because she finally snapped. And I want to see a segment of that. I want that. If they put that in there, I'm happy.
Do you actually think that Ezra Miller is still a good Flash?
No, he's trash. He's absolute trash. Like.
I mean, do we care? Do we even care about Flash, or we're just gonna go watch the movie because of Michael Keaton and Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
That's why. Listen, I love the character Flash. I wish they would get what's name Grant from the CW one and
Grant Gust.
Well, and they showed that they exist now because Crisis they met and all that cool stuff, and I'm like, just get rid of Ezra, man. Like.
I hope that the first time we really see Ezra as the Flash is during Justice League, and we all know how there were too many chiefs and not enough Indians on that sort of project.
Right.
So I hope that it being not a hodgepodge of 3 different types of directing, that maybe he'll be a better character. With the Flash, I know. Can only, it's still a pig in a dress. I know, but maybe the dress will be really nice. That's what I'm hoping for. That the dress is so nice that I don't notice it's a pig.
Wow. Yep. That's how. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can't put it like any other way.
Can't make it any nicer.
But I know, of course, my analogies get more creative. So double-edged sword there, sir. But like, I hope, like, with the feedback of the character from Justice League, I hope, and it seems like WB is finally taking the fans into consideration, so they'll adjust the character as needed. I mean, because visually he kind of looks like a Flash character, but how he acted sucked. But it was also not a great script and hodgepodge together. So like, I'll give him one more chance, one more film, and just to see. And if it still sucks, then we'll slaughter the pig.
I'm for it. Let him go. Michael.
They need to recast Ezra Miller as something else. You say give him one more film. That one more film could be the nail in his coffin for any future Justice League or any Flash, movies. The armor, his suit is absolutely trash. That thing is horrible.
Yeah.
The guy can't act. I mean, yeah, he's okay as the emo brooding kid on the Harry Potter movie. All right, that's fine. But here, I want someone that's the Flash. He does have that kind of quick wit, quip style thing. Like, I could see him being that. Yeah. But I look at the character, and it's just not right. Like, he's not Flash. I want someone... I want that DC 52 where he's kind of like slides in, he's all smooth, and he knows what the hell's going on. And he's got that, like, I don't know, just something about the way the character makes him in the comics versus this character is just not good. I like Grant. I think he would be a fantastic choice. I get it. They're probably not going to pick him because they want to keep everything separate. That's fine. But give me somebody that looks more like the Flash that I see on TV with the costume, the style, his acting, that stuff. I think it would translate better on the big screen. As far as we getting Michael Keaton, I'm thrilled that he could be a part of it. I want that to lead into Batman Beyond. Maybe we see something, he's going through the universes, he stops in that universe, he sees Michael Keaton, sees him as Batman, he's like, you're not the one I'm looking for, and we get that, and then that leads into the new movie where it's Batman Beyond with Keaton as the lead Batman. I want Jeffrey Dean Morgan somehow in the DC universe or the Marvel universe. I think he'd be a perfect guy to put in something for a role. I loved him as the Joker in Watchmen, and all his characters he plays. Negan, he has that comic book style like character. Like, he'd be perfect. Thomas Wayne, that gritty, he's wearing the Batman suit, going toe to toe with Justice. Oh man, come on! Like that's a no brainer. That's going to bring people into the audience, and that's a dress that even a pig's going to wear. We're going to go see because Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it. Every woman's going to go see it because of Jeffrey Dean Morgan. All of us older crowd are going to go see it because of Michael Keaton. No one's seeing it because of Ezra Miller as the Flash. Unless you're an emo kid and you like him, no one's seeing it because of him. You know, and I got to wait till 2022 to really dissect this movie. It's going to hurt to wait that long for it. I still don't think Robert Pattinson should be Batman. He should be Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, Michael Keaton as Batman, and I'd be okay with him playing that character.
I could see him being Terry McGinnis. Yeah, I think he'd do a pretty good job as for Terry McGinnis.
He looks young enough. He could play that college, high school style character. And if you're not going to go with that kid to play Terry McGinnis like Robert Pattinson, bring me the kid that is in was it Maze Runner? He was Thomas, the lead actor. Put him as Terry McGinnis. He has that look of it. He could be that couple roles. And I actually like Zendaya from Spider-Man, which I know they're not going to take her, but she could play his best friend, the love interest, character. Tell me, she'd be perfect for it.
His best friend, the pink-haired chick. She'd be awesome as that.
Wasn't
What's up, Jason?
What? Her name was like Max or something?
Her name was Maxine, and he called her Max. She was the hacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
tell me that's not perfect.
Yeah. And she would call Bruce Wayne Old Man Bat.
Yep.
And then Dana was the annoying girlfriend in the blue dress.
Yeah. Yep. She was
like that to me would be like you're spot on. I think with the casting, I think that would be a lot better. You know, I'm hoping Ezra Miller tragically falls through a wormhole and doesn't come back as the Flash.
Are you guys not like scared that like the fact that we're getting Ezra Miller and we're getting two one great Batman and one introduction of a Batman we've always wanted to see and watch it get screwed up? Are you not afraid of that? I mean, this could be as disastrous as the Ghostbuster reboot.
Who's the director again?
They haven't said the director.
Yes, that's my fear.
Yeah,
you know,
that's where the issue comes is the director. It's not necessarily a cast because a director sometimes can, direct a
make or break a movie.
Right, and they can actually make an actor look good. You know, just because you're an actor doesn't mean you're going to always be a hitter. Hit one out the park. I mean, look at how the Star Wars cast. They were all Shakespearean actors, but those crap lines made them sound like broken Tinker toys.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers is basically throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And then they're just going to go with that.
Right.
That's like, and it's it's that, business model where you have so many projects. If one succeeds, no one's going to remember the failures.
That's true.
That's pretty much how I feel it's going because, as soon as Aquaman came out, everybody stopped talking about Suicide Squad. They stopped talking about, Batman versus Superman and how shitty Justice League was. And now they're, and all they could talk about was how awesome Aquaman was.
Right. And, it wasn't someone just pointing out loud how bad Aquaman was. So there's always one bad DC film after another. I mean, DC just can't get a break from all their own movies. Either they do okay or they do a very poor job. And that's something that we have to pretty much live with. I mean, to me, I'm fearing of what script that they create, but I'm also excited to see what script they create. I'm gung-ho. I really don't like Ezra Miller at all as an actor. I could care less what happens to him. Hopefully this is the last time we see Ezra Miller as Flash. This will be like his one and only movie. And then they hopefully will recast him and get someone else. Maybe Warner Brothers can learn from Marvel and ABC so you can use your TV cast as movie roles because they're actors. You can put them on the big screen too, and you've drawn enough attention where you can use your TV cast in big movie roles. And I'm not going to lie, I do like the kid from the Flash TV show better than Ezra Miller. I'd love to see him I'd like to see him with, opposite of Ben Affleck and opposite of everyone else. And we already have Green Lantern already. I mean,
We have Diggle. We have
Bring
Diggle.
that back. What'd you say, Jason?
We have Diggle.
Right.
As Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Right, and we have Diggle as Green Lantern. I'll accept Diggle as Green Lantern right now too. Don't replace the characters that you've introduced. Give them the roles that they deserve to play, and take a chance on them.
I think Warner Brothers has a problem because Marvel's decisions are made by one man.
No, Tommaso, we are not giving Ezra Miller a chance. Ezra Miller gets no chances. After doing a really piss poor job and the way he's held himself in public, no, he's got to go.
Warner Brothers, their movies are decided by a committee of people that hold the money.
Right.
Are not made. Marvel, the reason MCU is so successful is they've got one guy making all the decisions, Kevin Feige. He is the mastermind behind all of it. If it is in the film, he approved, or if it's not in the film, he denied it. So they have no puppet master. They basically have, all of these voices that don't know the source material well enough or at all. And they're doing it because they think it's cool or might make some money. As opposed to Marvel, who has one man, and I agree, and is, You
want the best example? When Marvel put out product and they did Thanos, what did they do? Thanos held the gauntlet in his left hand. What did Marvel do? They created the right-handed gauntlet, and that's how you know that Marvel and their toy line business is in the right direction. DC has no idea what they're doing, and you can even tell by their own product.
The material at this point, it's basically like all they know is past films. So it's basically like they're photocopying a photocopy of a photocopy, and it's grading further and further because they're not going back to the comics anymore. They're just doing whatever.
Marvel source material is the books, while DC's had their books for God knows how long, and it's just very easy to go back to the actual source material. Yeah. And to be honest, put Kevin Smith directing on everything because he seems to be the only one on point when it comes to Flash or anything else.
I mean, that's why the shows are so much more successful, is because they're actually pulling from the source material.
Right.
Whereas Warner Brothers, they know the gist of Batman, and they're going to make it cool. That is the direction they're given, and then the directors are like, okay, let's cut Joker's face open. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Let's do John Travolta's face off. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't. They need to have one person that knows their material, and then yay or nay stuff dealing with the films.
Correct. I think if DC wanted to compete with Marvel after the first Iron Man movie came out and made $1 bazillion, that's when they should have sat there and go, oh, we need to get on board or we're going to get left behind. They didn't. They had The Dark Knight and that was it. Christopher Nolan, great director. Bring him in. Have him build around The Dark Knight from that movie trilogy and bring your Justice League around that style. I think you could have done something well. They gave it to too many different people. They couldn't figure out anything. Marvel puts a raccoon in outer space in a tree that says, I am Groot, and say, hey, have fun. It's a comic book. DC can't figure out how to explain how, Superman has superpowers and, he's not human and how can we humanize him? You don't. He's Superman. He is a godlike character. You bring him in like that, and they started to do that with some of the Man of Steel stuff, but they still can't seem to get out of their own way. They got to copy Marvel, but they're trying too hard. Now you got to make it lighthearted. DC's not lighthearted. DC is a little bit more gritty, a little bit more darker with their storylines. Marvel's got the more humor, more lighthearted with some of their characters. That's how they've always been from the 50s on. Stick with what you know and go with it, but they're not working on it.
Mm-hmm. Warner Brothers is their thought processes are so in the box that they couldn't have even done the smallest thing and give Superman a beard. Instead, they spent tons of money for, a college level crappy CGI job on his now deformed face, and they became a laughing stock because they can't think out of the box. Superman can't have a beard. It's like you made him kill somebody in the last film. The man can't decide to grow a beard.
Right.
But if you think about it, in the Superman dies when he comes out of the Matrix, the chamber, he has a beard.
Yeah.
So you can do it. Like, you could have done that. It would have been perfect. Yeah, it would have looked a little weird, but you could have done it.
So in the box. Their thought processes are so in the box that they can't get out.
Well, yeah. I'll let Jason look like he had a lot to say on his mind, and then I'm going to answer J-Bo's comment. But go ahead, Jason.
One of the things was like Chris Nolan, I don't think would have been good for. Well, I think he would have been a good director for it, but making it off of the Dark Knight trilogy wouldn't work because he created that with the idea of no superpowers existing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Bane didn't have Venom. That's why, like, all that other, they were more humanized versions of the Bat universe. So he would have to take it, and somehow, like, some magic would happen, and everybody gets powers now. The reason why I didn't like Ezra Miller, and maybe this is why most people don't, is because every other iteration of the Flash, even though he makes mistakes and does whatever, especially in the CW, he's not as immature, because what they did was they played on the fact that, like, they were trying to make Flash autistic in Justice League and all that stuff. If you look at how his mannerisms, I've actually been around a lot of autistic children, and like you'll see, like, his mannerisms were fit that whole, like, scope, and it doesn't work for a forensic scientist. Like, he wasn't even his character.
No,
like, he wasn't a scientist. He was just, and he was a hacker kid in a garage. Like, that's not the Flash. He's a forensic. He's a scientist. Come on, man. Like, why did
Bruce Wayne not a millionaire and a garbage man?
Right. Like, I just wouldn't understand. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like none of that should have went down the way, like, how that was. And there was something else you brought up, and, like, I think it was the idea of them catching up with the movies and seeing Marvel. Mm-hmm. They didn't believe Marvel could do what they did.
Right.
So Iron Man was like, that's a fluke. And then, like, after that, it was like Iron Man 2 and then Thor's and all that stuff came out.
But then you got 5-6 movies in a row that are not a fluke anymore. All of a sudden, they should have caught up.
But they didn't see it working yet as everybody's connected outside of just, like, the after credit trailers. It's when they saw Avengers and how well all these main characters worked as a unit in one film, which right now that is, like, historically, like, the biggest comic book moment in like cinema history. It was like seeing that first Avengers with that, like, pan where they're all standing there. That's still a great moment, because it was like all these main characters are finally on the big screen together, and they all look just like the comic books.
Right.
Wow. Like, like, so yeah, that, like, there's so many different issues with the DC universe. Is gonna and agree with what Tom's saying. That we all knew that. Like, we all know that Flashpoint is how they're. This is what I was.
Reset button.
This is how they're gonna fix it. Flashpoint. They're gonna, they're gonna reinvent themselves with Flashpoint. But here's how they're gonna do it. They're gonna look at the fan base and the reaction. They're gonna use Flashpoint to jump through all the different universes and see online after that movie comes out which one is the most talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to base the rest of the DC universe following that. So if Michael Keaton does well and all that stuff,
we're going to get Batman Beyond.
We're going to get Batman Beyond. If you see Thomas Wayne, all right, we're going to go back.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan version. We'll get the Jeffrey Dean Morgan version coming out as well, too.
Right. That's how we're going to do it.
I think
it'd be fine.
Right. I think that's a smart idea, because DC can't get any worse than what it's already done. I mean, we still have to wait to what HBO Max has in store for us with what they have with Batman and everything else. But
I'm excited for that.
Well, here's a question. If they do the reinvent itself with Flashpoint, do they keep, Henry as Superman? Do they keep Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman? Do they keep those characters, or do you think they recast them?
No, I think they would keep him because they like Henry. They like Henry a lot. They don't
And
want
he
to.
says he wants to play it. They say he says he wants to play it more. He wants to do more. I'd love to see him as it. I think the dude's perfect. I agree there with Tommaso.
I mean, yeah,
the animated movies are insane. They are incredible. They're so good.
True. That's DC's main problem. Their animation is stronger than their movies.
Well, that's the same thing that's the other way around for Marvel.
Like,
Marvel's animations are like, but they're live action though.
Yeah.
And you think about their latest one, the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War.
Fantastic.
That I feel like is like phenomenal. But at the end, you see that, and you see the Flash just taking off, and I'm like, is this they're rebooting their cartoon series now? Which I hope they don't goof up.
Okay, so the way they handled the animation, the whole series, like Flashpoint Paradox was their Iron Man, and then Son of Batman, Batman and Robin, Justice League Dark, a lot of the Justice League War, all those ones, they're all from the same universe. Yeah. But now it's over. Apocalypse War is their end game.
Yep.
And so they were like, all right, I'm going to run back and, fix stuff, change things and all that stuff. So now they're going to do separate animated movies again, like they used to do.
Right. Which I think is what Flashpoint's going to be. It's going to be a correction of their, like Tommaso was saying, maybe it's how they reinvent their movies, their feature movies, and this is their reinventing on the animation ones. I hope they don't really go away from some of the animation stuff because I love some of the designs, some of the storylines. I know we're going to get a whole new one, but let's see how much they change.
Well, which Marvel animation did a really great job, and that would be Fox. So if we can go back to the old days of the 90s where Fox took Marvel animation, took it to a whole new level, I'll take that back any day. Give it back to Saban, and we'll have some really great animated series and movies.
Yep.
Speaking about Marvel Studios is reportedly introducing their first X-Men mutant in Spider-Man 3. While Marvel is ready to add mutants into their MCU, Spider-Man is already going to add some of his amazing friends. Yes, that's right, his amazing friends. Marvel is getting ready to introduce Starfire. Starfire was first introduced in NBC's Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. She would later, Starfire would later join the X-Men and also the New Warriors as well. No word yet on her powers and how it can help Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But it will be interesting to see when we will see Iceman, Human Torch, and Wolverine join in the fun. Michael?
Excuse me. I absolutely like that. That's going to be the first. I guess you could say first mutant per se. I don't know. I think it's going to be a cool one. I like Firestar. I was always a big fan of the cartoon series back in the day with Iceman, and they did that with Bobby Drake and stuff. They better give me, was it the aunt or something with the dog? Because that was like really cool. Like I need that. Give me that, like a homage to that or something. Maybe that's how he meets her or something like that. I think it'd be really cool. And they better have that room that spins around, and that's how they get the spider computer and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's interesting to see how they're going to introduce her. Who's going to be the character? Like who's playing that role? And that's in the new Spider-Man movie, which we don't know when will be.
Right.
So pushing that far out. I mean, technically, the first mutant should have been Scarlet Witch, but we're saying it was done by the Mind Stone.
Right.
They were technically the first mutants, but they're going to change it up, obviously.
Well, they were experimented on by the Stryker, so.
Right, and they rewrote basically the Marvel lore and the legends that was, done, which they did a great job with it. So I have what?
What?
They didn't have the rights to use Magneto.
Yeah, they didn't have the rights to. Yeah.
That's true.
And the word mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And aren't they supposed to be bringing in the kid that played Quicksilver from that one into this one?
Yeah,
somehow?
From X-Men First Class, he's supposed to be he's joining the WandaVision universe. But I forgot what role he's playing.
He's
So
not
if he's
playing
in-
Quicksilver though.
Oh, he's not. Oh, no, I
No,
was hoping he
because
was.
Quicksilver is the Aaron kid, is Kick-Ass, and Kick-Ass is dead.
Right. Yeah. See, now if they brought him in, and that was going to be if he was going to be kind of like a mutant because of her with her powers, that would have been technically the first mutant. But
well, we'll
probably
continue
not.
with that one, but we'll continue with your thoughts.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued. I think it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to know what the storyline is. How is he meeting up with her? What type of baddie is he fighting? Who's going to be the next villain? That's what I care more about than the fact that you drop a little nugget and go, oh yeah, we're going to introduce a mutant. It's going to be in the Spider-Man universe. Okay, who's the character? Who's the bad guy? What's the storyline? I want to know more about that because technically at the last one he was outed as Spider-Man.
Right.
So that's where I want to know. That's more I care about, but that's just me.
Sammy, since you have a lot to say.
That's a double.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Double-sided statement right there. I'm not really familiar with the whole Spider-Man stuff. I never really read it very much. But I like that they're pulling characters from not the standard mutants that we all know from X-Men and stuff like that. That they're pulling back row, characters to the front and giving them, more of the limelight than, using another, character we know from X-Men or whatever. And it's smart because then they can, just like Guardians of the Galaxy, they can make it whatever they want at that point, And the comic Guardians of the Galaxy sucked, but the films are great. So I like that they're utilizing aspects of the universe that we may have never thought we could see before, and they're not staying in the box. I like that. I'm looking forward to it. I love the Spider-Man films.
Jason?
As I paint, I'm going to tell you, I bet you the villain, or they should make the villain the Chameleon, because then they could write that in as that's who's the one who actually killed, quote unquote, killed, Mysterio and all that other stuff. You need somebody to free him out of. He's already a bad guy. The best way to do it, have somebody like Chameleon, and then get him arrested, and then at the end of the movie or whatever, and they'll be like, "Oh, it must have been him that did all this," and then all that jazz. Mutants are. Wanda is going to be the reason why mutants are here, thanks to Multiverse of Madness, because she's going to do a reverse version of what you saw in the comics of No More Mutants. She's just going to be like, you need people with powers. And then, that's how mutants are going to come around in existence. Because if you watch the trailer for WandaVision, she's controlling multiple realities. Because that's what it is. She misses Vision, and she wants to make a world where she's with Vision again. So that's how they're going to do that with Doctor Strange. Especially
she was the most powerful mutant.
Right.
She literally fabricated and changed reality.
But she was also the most powerful one in the MCU because she's the only one single-handedly that actually beat up Thanos to the point where he asked for everybody to drop their missiles on everyone, even his soldiers.
Yeah.
He's the only one to do that.
I agree with you. I think that I could easily see her, at the end of WandaVision getting to the point where she just has to remake everything. So I could see that. Sure.
I think she's going to first accidentally do it in the Doctor Strange movie.
I agree with that. Yeah, Doctor Strange, opening up the multiverse through Doctor Strange is probably how they're going to feed in the mutants into the Avengers MCU. Just like what they did on the last part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Well, don't forget this. WandaVision is just going to be a dream sequence in Vision's head. Everything that's going to be happening in WandaVision is just a dream sequence. So none of it's going to actually happen unless they actually bring it to fruition.
That they've released.
Yeah.
We have no idea until we see it. But
I was going to say,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Wanda is really the only feasible one that they can pull that already exists that can create something out of nothing. She can alter reality, except Doctor Strange, because of the magic and everything like that. He too can manipulate reality. So it's either going to be her, it's either going to be like her doing it as a reflexive action, or it's going to be like a multiverse combining with our universe.
But see, the one downfall I see is I don't think she can change reality. She can bend people's minds to see a certain reality. Wanda in the comics could sit there and go, you know what? I want the sky to be pink today. The sky's pink. Yeah. She can't do that in the MCU, but she could go into your ear and go, the sky is pink, and you see the sky is pink. And that's how she changed reality per se. Like, she warped the reality. Right. With Doctor Strange, I think she might be a little tapped now, and maybe she's really delving into some deep power, and that's where we can see something where she might be the villain. Doctor Strange might be fighting her, and she could be an Avenger, and she's the villain because she's got to warp reality and maybe the multiverse somehow, and he's got to fix it to get it correct. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I'm excited for the Doctor Strange film, though.
Jason?
I think she will be the hero and the villain at the same time. She's going to be the catalyst because you're going to have Doctor Strange and you're going to have Nightmare, both fighting over making her do whatever. Nightmare is going to manipulate her and show her how depressed she is, all this other stuff. She lost her man. The world is all screwed up. Now you should use your powers, because if you pay attention to the films, her powers keep growing throughout the films. Her rules keep changing. So at this point, once she hits an emotional stride, whether it's sadness or anger, that's when her powers alter. Because her powers didn't change until Quicksilver died, and then when she went after Ultron, she hemmed him up. Right. Her powers didn't change again until she was upset over the fact that Thanos took out her man and he didn't even remember. And so she was like, "Oh, word, I'm gonna hem you up," and then she got extra powers. So this time she's lost so much. Now she's ready to I need the world to change.
Yeah.
And then Nightmare's going to come in her head and be like, "Hey, baby girl, why don't you do this over here and this over here so you can help me out? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to help you, you help me." And then Doc Strange will be like, "What are you doing, girl?" And then they're going to help each other out, but it's going to alter the universe and the reality. And it'll be its own version of the blip, but without anyone knowing anything happened, because all of reality was changed, and then mutants would already exist and people wouldn't know the difference. They were like, "Oh yeah, mutants." Like even the Avengers would know that mutants are around. Only people that know that something was different would be Doc Strange, Nightmare, and Wanda.
But in House of M, Spider-Man recognized that everything was different because of Spider-Sense.
Right. He might be the only one, and they might have him do that. That would work for him because he is supposed to be the new leader he's the new Avenger. Like he's going to start off the new Young Avengers and all that stuff that's going to be coming up soon. So there you go.
Yeah.
Sammy, any more? I always have Sammy talking so much more than usual. Anyway, speaking of things that die and come back and always coming to an end, we recently watched on WWE Network that The Undertaker has retired from WWE after 30 years of pro wrestling. Last Sunday, at the final episode of The Last Ride, Mark Calloway, best known as The Undertaker, announced his retirement. Taker has said that his WrestleMania match against AJ Styles was his last. While we have all seen retired wrestlers come back from their Hall of Fame for one more match, one more year, one more title, well, pretty much I hope this is it. Mark Calloway has put more than 30 years of wrestling on his body, and in my opinion, he should have retired years ago. But I'm not him. I don't have the bug. We don't have his bug, but I don't have his drive, and we all know that business is business. Nothing is ever over. But for now, thank you for being in our lives, in our living rooms for 30 years. Jason, you seem to be nodding yes. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, freaking Undertaker, dude. Like I didn't realize until maybe like a couple of years ago that he never lost a match.
Right.
Like I was like, really? I thought, Like I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like, because his role was so impactful that it didn't matter win or lose. Like he's the Undertaker. He was so awesome. I remember one time he came up through the ring like a zombie and Colt was named through. I was like, oh my God, he's real. He's a real zombie man. Like, Paul Bearer, like every time he beat somebody, they'd put him in the coffin and like take him up.
Lock him up, yeah.
I loved all that stuff. I don't think he's done with the wrestling industry.
Right.
But he is done with wrestling. And the way you can do that is have the Undertaker represent the Grim Reaper. So whenever somebody comes in and like he needs to just like X them out, like the lights go out, you hear the bong, and then now it's the Undertaker in like a cloak, and he just grabs them, and then bong again, the lights go out again, and they're both gone. Like I would want that kind of stuff to happen. Like he doesn't have to wrestle; he just has to be this like presence, like almost like the ghost of WrestleMania, you know.
Like your career's over, bong, Taker just takes you away, kind of thing.
Right. Like if somebody does somebody dirty, he just comes in and just like exacts justice on them, and like just with like by just like literally just taking them and.
Could you see like certain wrestlers have a retirement match and use the Undertaker as like that gong version, as you just mentioned, and just retire them that way?
Yeah. And then it could be a good. No, he would walk them off. He would lead them through smoke, and like he would like almost like a Heaven's Gate kind of thing. Like right. All this mist, and he'd walk them out of the ring and into like this like one tunnel or like backstage type thing, and then like
there's all the retirees. Here we go. This is greener pastures.
Yeah, and you see them like clapping as you're coming back, like welcome to heaven, bruh. And then like. And like have a body double in the back that represents like Macho Man, like somebody in the back, way in the back that you kind of see like all that representing all the actual wrestlers of history.
Right.
And, but then like, man,
that may be a little far-fetched, but Michael, you're a Taker fan, you're a wrestling fan.
I'm an old school wrestling fan, man. And I am glad to see Undertaker finally, retire per se. Exactly what you're saying. He should have retired a few years ago. Mm-hmm. But you think about it, he carried that industry when The Rock went off. Triple H was done. You had no Jericho. You had Stone Cold with his injuries. HBK was gone. Like, who did you have that was a main guy? There was nobody. You didn't have anybody on the mic. You had no one that the crowd cared about. And they still don't really, if you think about it. No one could cut a promo. I've watched kids that are 10 years old cut a better promo on TikTok than half these wrestlers that are getting paid millions of dollars. Like, seriously, you laugh, but it's the truth. Yeah, I can't watch wrestling right now. It's bad. They don't know how the cues. You watch some of the wrestlers in the ring, they can't even do it. So to watch a man that's 55 years old, as The Undertaker is, and 6'10", do what he was still doing for 30 plus years in the ring, I applaud him. Like, seriously, Hell in a Cell match, Mankind, where he put him through the top of the cage onto a table, tacks and stuff like that, and what that man did for the wrestling industry for 30 years. His I think his WWE WrestleMania record is 22-1.
23-2.
23-2. Okay, my bad. I thought it was 22-1.
No,
23-2, not bad.
Brock Lesnar and then to Roman Reigns.
The simple fact that he lost his undefeated record to Brock Lesnar is an absolute travesty. If he was going to lose that record, it should have been to a legend. Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold. You've got HBK, Triple H. Those are people, Mankind.
Even Randy Orton. He should, if anything, what?
Yes, I know everyone's saying Randy Orton's the legend killer and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I just don't care. I think if he was going to lose that record, it should have been to one of those. Those guys are the ones that brought wrestling to what it was. If he had lost to The Rock or somebody or HBK who came back, a little sweet chin music, knocked him out, won the title, I'd be okay with that. Right. Brock Lesnar, a part-time wrestler that comes and goes whenever the hell he feels like, I'm sorry. I just think that was bad. That tarnished his career. But what that man did with the death matches, the retirement matches, the casket, Paul Bearer coming in, with him, with Kane, the Twin Towers, like he brought wrestling for 30 years. God bless him. He deserves it. I like what Jay says where he does that Grim Reaper. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's done. He's going to be in the back office. He might be in their NXT program helping some of the young guys get better, maybe work with them to do some wrestling, which I think they definitely need. Mm-hmm. Bring some of the old wrestlers back, teach these guys how to do some promos, how to do some wrestling in the ring. Because some of them can't do it, but that's me.
Sammy, have you ever, you watch wrestling or want to comment on Undertaker? All right. So,
I didn't know he was doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
1,000 years old.
We'll go back to one thing that you mentioned, him versus Brock Lesnar. There is a documentary where Brock Lesnar did not want to beat him in WrestleMania,
no.
And when you hear it, Brock Lesnar is in the back in tears because he didn't want it to happen, and he didn't want to be that guy to beat the Undertaker. To this day, Brock Lesnar still feels that he's not the guy to do it.
No, I think that's where Vince McMahon did a bad business decision, and you could see this where the fans just clamored for it, and they were like, "Really, Brock Lesnar?" And you could see that, and that's when you started watching some of the fans turn on Vince and his storylines and a lot of his stuff for a few years there. He hasn't had some good – he's got to get some better writers for some of his stuff. It's not good.
Well, at the end of the day, real quick, what was your favorite matches what was your favorite Undertaker moment that you went with? Michael, let's go with you.
For when he put Mankind through the top of the steel cage.
So Hell in the Cell
first. The Hell in the Cell match, when he took him on top of the thing and put him through the top of that onto the mat, onto tacks and stuff like that, dude, I fell off the couch. I mean, my buddy Fusco, like, we lost our shit watching that, man. That was just, and you hear the ring announcers and stuff like that. I can still hear it in my head. It's just,
oh my god. Yeah.
Not
only did it happen once, it's twice. Mick Foley went through the top. Jason,
I mean,
your favorite?
That to me was the best one.
Jason,
I don't think I have a favorite match. I liked just his persona. I loved his character. That was back when wrestling characters were like comic book characters. Now they're dry. They're just like, I'm a wrestler. Yeehaw! Like the wrestlers of the 70s, 80s and 90s especially. Right. That era right there, you could tell a child that Hulk Hogan had superpowers, and you could really believe it. Like Ultimate Warrior, all these characters were larger than life. Rikishi, Undertaker. They didn't even have names. They had superhero names, comic book villain names. They weren't like Randy Orton. Like what? Like, like he's doing tax.
I'll take him if you came out as the Viper all the time, because then that would make sense. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, like you had The Rock, you know what I mean? Even Goldberg, I love Goldberg. Like he was just Goldberg, like you just knew him as that. Like he had it, you know what I mean? Like, so it was his presence in the ring and what he did for the industry is what made me so happy. Like, that man was monster. He was undead. Oh, loved it.
Well, I'll tell you mine real quick, and we'll go on to the next topic. Mine was when he faced Hulk Hogan, and he won the WWF title, which being his first reign. So getting rid of the Hulk Hogan era at the time, during the Undertaker era, for me was the start of my, we'll say, old school wrestling start, in a way. Speaking of something old school that started in the 90s and now is finally making its way back, kind of, Daria's having a spinoff. So Jody Lings, that was Daria's friend, is now landing in Comedy Central. MTV Studios has announced that a Daria spinoff will happen at Comedy Central. and its home, or her home, we'll say, it's not. Oh my God, I just wrote the worst notes. Anyway, it's not about just Daria. We're going for Jodie's character. Jodie's story will start life after college and entering a complicated world. No word yet on if her boyfriend from high school is going to make an appearance or Daria herself. MTV hopes that they will use the Daria universe to create multiple TV shows and possibly a film. No word yet on the season premiere. Let's go with Sammy. What do you think of the Daria spinoff of Jodie?
Is it a cartoon?
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
I liked Jodie better than Daria. I thought Daria was a giant sardonic bee. And I hated her character. But I liked everyone else. Like they made the supporting characters is what made that TV show. I liked Jodie. I thought she was a well-rounded, progressive character for her time.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was, early mid-90s. So it was, she was not, she was the outcast that spoke to all of the misfits. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. I mean, better Comedy Central have it than MTV. I mean, MTV's just celebrated their I think it's their 35th anniversary.
Right.
So they're celebrating 14 years of playing music.
And Daria was around when MTV used to play music.
Yeah, and
that's right. They played music.
And it wasn't for like an hour; it was 24 hours. Or if you're old enough to remember when it stopped at midnight, thanks to the national anthem.
But people don't remember that Daria first started on Beavis and Butthead during the time where they used to play music videos.
Yeah, she was on Beavis and Butthead. And then she was a spin-off of that. So, I would be happy seeing seeing that in the hands of a successful humorous, network TV show. If Comedy Central doesn't do it, then Netflix should pick it up. Then it would be like.
Well, it's on Comedy Central. Comedy Central's having it.
I know, but I'm saying the only place that would be better would be Netflix.
Correct.
Then it would be super TVMA, and she'd be dropping F-bombs every chance she got.
Well, this is the Jodie character, not Daria. Daria would be the one dropping a ton of F-bombs.
Jodie dropped F-bombs.
Jason, what do you think of the Jodie spinoff or the Daria spinoff of Jodie character?
Yeah, I totally agree with Sammy on a lot of that because I hated Daria. I wanted to punch her in her face. And you're not supposed to hit women and all that stuff, so I couldn't. But quality.
It had nothing to do with her existence. She wasn't real.
She made me angry. I used to get set off. I don't know. She was so miserable. I hated her so much. Your life is not that bad. You have a loving family, all this other stuff. And she used to make me mad. But the surrounding cast was awesome. They were all interesting. And I think Jodie will be a good fit for this day and age because she looks and feels and sounds like someone of this newer generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could see her, speaking to different demographics that didn't really have a voice back in the 90s, other than they were the misfit crowd.
She did have a voice in the 90s. I remember seeing a bunch of old clips being come out prior to the social movement of today.
Yeah.
This was brought out months. This was brought out weeks ago before everything has actually happened. And, this seems to be kind of the right place and the right time. Granted, this was greenlit almost a month ago. This becomes a new version of right place, right time.
Yeah.
Michael, what do you think of the spinoff?
I didn't honestly watch Daria back in the day. I do remember seeing all the commercials because MTV, as Sammy, poetically put it, they've been celebrating music for 14 years, but they've been around for 35.
Right.
I remember the jukebox and all those other ones where you could play music and call in. You pay like $3.99, wait 2 hours, and your video finally played. I do remember her on Beavis and Butthead because I did watch Beavis and Butthead. I always thought that they were hysterical. Getting it on Comedy Central and her character, from what I remember Jody being, and today's day and age, I think it is a good time to bring something like that out. And I think it would be great to see a black-led cartoon character that would have a voice, and the way she ran back then to now, I think would be actually kind of cool. And I think they'll do a good job. I like Comedy Central because Comedy Central also challenges a lot of the norm and the way they like with like South Park and some of those other shows, they wait to the last second because they want to keep up to date with the pop culture and the media. I'd like to see them do the same thing with Jody, and I think they could possibly do it because they do tend to skirt some of those issues where they keep it right on the edge, and I think that show could be popular. It could be something really cool. Kind of
going with what Blackish did at one point. Blackish held a few of their episodes waiting for a certain election to happen, and they finished their season a little late in order to get the election in. Do you feel, as you said, like you think that can happen?
I think with Jody, if that comes out at the right time with today's topics and today's culture, I think would be a good fit. I hope they play, the line and don't go one way versus the other, kind of toe that line and do a good job. I think it could be a show that could be somebody that could be eye-opening, change a little bit of the way we watch some cartoons with some of that commentary and stuff. I think it'd be something kind of cool. Comedy Central's known to do stuff like that. Right. So,
Jason?
I think it's all a great idea. I think it has a strong 2 seasons max.
Yeah.
I don't see it having the. It's not going to push the boundaries that it's going to need to get to season 7 and 8 like South Park did. Mm-hmm. As much as people are like, South Park. I still watch South Park. Yo, when I say it is hilarious and current, like it is fantastic. Like that one season that was like all like Game of Thrones and like with the Red Robin wedding and like, oh my gosh. And all the little political jabs that they sit there and put in front of your face, but you're too disgusted to realize it. But like, I don't think it has that kind of edge to last. You know what I mean? If you look at shows like Big Mouth and and like Big Mouth is a good example of how it could keep going because it nowadays you have to push a certain edge,
right?
If you want to do adult-ish satire, like you can't be The Simpsons. The Simpsons only work because they're The Simpsons. You know what I mean? Like, look at it.
It's so great over the last few years.
I still watch Simpsons, though. But you get what I'm saying? Like, you have Simpsons, you have American Dad, Family Guy. Like, these things have a longevity that as awesome as this show could be, because we don't know if it will be.
Yeah.
So let's just go on this topic. The writer and I guess the voice of Cleveland for the Cleveland show recently came out and says he is no longer going to do the Cleveland voice due to current political issues right now. As Jason pops his head, how do you feel about that? Even though the rest of the cast is, I would say, black affiliated, we'll say, with the rest of them having jobs, and granted, Cleveland is voiced by a white person. And
just say it how it is. Say it raw, baby. Like,
right. But like, how do you feel about the recast? I mean, should he bow down, or should he just continue as being Cleveland?
I loved him as Cleveland. I think that's weird. Like, because then what you're doing is like, how about we make more roles and more accepting styles of jobs in the voice acting industry for people of color. Like, right. There's sometimes some voice acting gigs where they're looking at you while you're doing it. How about you send in no picture,
right?
No photo of yourself, no name, you go by code. Like when you sign in, you have like a operation, like a 6-digit number, and then you have a reel that goes in there. If they hear your quality of your voice, then you get hired. Doesn't like
based on your job, basically based on your jobs, like on the voice
performance,
on your skill. Because I want it to be because then years from now, this could all backfire. Like not even years from now, it's already starting to do it because like people are pointing out stuff like, well, there's a lot of black folk who are playing white characters. I mean, Kratos is Greek. Yes, that's a person of color. But
correct.
It is not a Greek person doing the voice of a Greek man. Are we going to segregate animation now so that like only women can do female characters? So that means Nancy's got to go because she's been Bart for too long, and like that means we got to get rid of Phil Lamar for being an Asian man in Samurai Jack. Well, he has to like leave a ton of roles that he did as a black man, as a white man. Keith David can't be Goliath because they showed that Goliath is a white man when he turns human, because there was an episode where all the gargoyles got turned human, and like Goliath is a white man with a mullet.
Keith David better be Goliath forever. I don't give a crap. I don't care what color he is. That's Goliath. Don't you dare change that on me. I don't care.
Right. Like it's like now I understand that they're trying to show some type of solidarity and all that stuff, but this is not the way. No. Like if you want to use your privilege by donating. Use your privilege by, like speaking out for things. But like throwing away your privilege doesn't do anything for me, like as an industry person, as for a black community. Like for me, that's kind of like, I don't want the job now because I know I'm now an affirmative hire. I'm an affirmative hire. And like, I want to be hired for my skill. I bust my butt all these years to do this certain job. Like,
but what if your voice belongs to another character that doesn't have to be black? He happens to be white or a different color. So what if that fits better? Your voice could fit another character that's not on their agenda list, we'll say.
Right. I've done my share of voice acting, and some of the stuff I've done was like, in Jeopardy where they do the location stuff, like I've done that for Atlantic City, like where it's like, here in Atlantic City, you can enjoy the amenities of blah, 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 blah. Like I've done those videos and those DVDs. No one knows a black man did that. Well,
no. That was the beauty of voice actors.
Again, it's acting. You are playing another character. Like, I can understand if the character is supposed to look a certain way and they changed it. Like, I don't, it's about to get weird. I don't see a need to change the source material of a character just to do it. Perfect example, that first time it ever happened to me and it drove me crazy as a teenager was Spawn, because Al's best friend Terry is a black man, and then a white dude was playing him in the movie, and I was like, that is not the comic book. Like, I feel the same way about, I love Michael B. Jordan. That's not the Human Torch. Like, like that's just because I have different characters of color. Black, white, all that other stuff. I would be irked beyond belief if somebody changed my character's anything because it has to fit a certain narrative.
Right.
Like, I think now you're kind of bastardizing the skill of it by like going like, here, blacks, take my scraps. Because you can get them if I leave. Like that, I feel some type of way about that.
I kind of agree with you a little bit on that, where if they're going to change a lot of characters, now you're going to see a lot of cartoons and voice acting for movies, video games, cartoons, audiobooks, everything like that. So Susan, like you said, Cartwright, she shouldn't voice Bart Simpson anymore. What about adults that do the voice of young kids in video games or cartoon series? They might not be able to do it now. They use adults for kids or certain roles because of the hours. and how much the work industry has to do. So now you're going to say, oh, well, me and you, if we were adult actors and we're doing voice acting of kids on a cartoon series, well, we can't do it anymore because we're adults. We have to give that to a child.
And they
so
think
you
that,
just
and
changing
it
everything.
won't go that far. People are like, oh, it's not going to go that far. Every situation like this, any type of movement, any type of everything has definitely gone farther than like what it was expected. You know, like I believe in the core values, the original form of feminism. But like that third wave thing that came in out of nowhere, that is not what feminism is. You know what I mean? Like same thing with this. Are we going to start segregating like roles now? I mean, in some ways I'm like, all right, that's cool. That opens up the windows for, you know, some people. But it was like, we need a black actor. Because if you're doing it as a movie, like a live action, and you need a black person to play this role, you're going to look for a black person.
Well,
now,
let's hold that discussion for another time. Since you have a project coming on, and we're almost out of time, why don't you plug away on what you're working on, Jason? And, plug away.
All right. All right, everybody. Hey, it's your boy over here, Jay Rich. Go to Instagram and look up VT Heroes. That is my new tabletop fighting card game that is going to be launching soon. It is the true epitome of body positivity because it shows plus size, it shows smaller sizes, it shows all sizes. And it shows men and women. You can play like they're strong female characters. Literally, like she's like one of the strongest characters in the game. And I'm breaking up all the norms because it's it's based on that whole Power Ranger thing, but it's not like there's one woman on the squad, and they're not really a squad, but there's not like one woman is like literally cut in half. There's like half girls, half guys, like it's a mess. Then you have good things like the Pink Ranger is a buff dude. Yeah. So go and check it out for yourselves. VT Heroes, go on Instagram, look it up, because I'm actually going to be doing an IG live with Justin Nemo, who played Zane, the Silver Power Ranger from Power Rangers in Space, who's actually a good friend of mine. We're going to be talking about fun stuff. Yeah.
I own $50. That's another story. But anyway, go check out his Instagram. It's right there. You can see it right there, his Instagram. Go and check him out. Sammy, plug away.
As always, I'm here Sunday nights. Wednesday nights, I am at 7 p.m. I'm on my channel painting and telling inappropriate adult stories like I do.
Seriously.
Huh?
I said seriously.
Yeah. But otherwise, you can catch me on my Instagram or Facebook at TS Castillo Studios, or you can look at everything through castillostudios.ninja. The most recent thing coming up is I will be doing San Diego Comic-Con at home. So I will be having exclusive content only available through those 5 days at that show. So make sure you follow all of my social media so you can see what the new products are going to be.
Michael, plug away.
I'll be here every Sunday night in your mom's basement playing this with these crew, just having some fun. And you can catch me on Facebook group called BYOG, Be Your Own Geek. Check us out. We got a lot of stuff in there. We post things all day. That's really about it. That's all I got.
My name is Araz Zandy. You can check me out here with Michael and Sammy every Sunday at 8 o'clock. You can also catch me next following weekend while I am with the Mad Dog himself, Pops, as we do the Comic Related Madness comic book convention. That's on July 4th and 5th. And you can probably catch me the following weekend on July 8th at a store signing near you. I will be with Brian Myers, a.k.a. Kurt Hawkins, for the autograph signing at Haskell Toys in Long Island. Oh, Jason made a face. Go ahead. You want to one last comment before I say goodbye to everyone?
No. Y'all be easy, be greasy, stay nice and greasy. Like,
See you every Sunday, 8 o'clock. Thank you, Jason, for joining us this week. And I will be seeing all you guys very shortly. Have a great day and have a great 4th of July, guys.
Peace.